Oh, I'm back! Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jason and thank you for joining me on today's Deep Seeded Geek. So I've got a little bone to pick with the industry out there. Specifically, I want to talk about the game trailers. Everyone loves watching media that they put out for their games. It gives us tantalizing visuals to drool over, snippets of storylines to speculate, and a promise that this will be the next evolution of your gameplay experience. But more than a few times, I've felt betrayed or duped by these game trailers that represent a game that, quite frankly, don't live up to the ideas or the promise that was made in the actual trailer. I mean, when you go see a movie trailer, you get a basic idea of what the film is going to be. It gives you a basic idea of the story, tells you who's going to be in it, and shows you a few cool action sequences that can best display the overall experience of the film you're about to see. Hollywood has been doing this for so long now, it's down to a science. So why has the video game industry, which has been trying to emulate Hollywood style for so many years now, not grasped this concept? Now, to be fair, there have been loads of trailers that have come out that were the perfect teasers for what the final product will eventually be. Rockstar Games is usually a shining example of this. What they show is exactly what you end up getting. But I'd like to share a few examples of some companies and video games that have pulled the wool over our eyes until it's far too late. First up is Blizzard and World of Warcraft. Anyone can tell you that the trailers that come out from Blizzard are the stuff of legend. If you watch even a few minutes of their CG trailers for either the base game or any of the expansions, you immediately want to hand over your wallet. And then you play the game, and you realize that the game itself looks nothing like the trailer you saw before. Now, to be fair, the game is almost 10 years old, and back in the day, there was no way they could pull off graphics that looked like that CG trailer. But last year, they came out with Diablo 3. And once again, the trailers were jaw-dropping. So did the graphics make that high-tech jump that was envisioned all those years ago? Nope. Is it possible to do that? Yep. It's a lot like how you'll find certain comic books in the store, where it'll have amazing cover art by the likes of Jim Lee, Alex Ross, or Brian Hitch. And then you look inside the book, and you realize that the interiors are done by a completely different artist. And usually it's an artist with a completely different style that does not hold up to the promise of the actual cover art. Which brings me to my next culprit. When Square Enix first announced their highly anticipated game Final Fantasy XIII to the rabid fanbase that it has, they showed us a trailer that looked like the next evolution of gameplay and graphics. The typical cutscenes that the series is well known for were seemingly playable now, with the battle menu over top of an amazing action sequence. But a year or so later, when the game was finally released, fans were given the tried and true method of having a big bad guy in the background, and in the foreground were your three main characters that were throwing out attacks, magic, and buffs. It's the same old, same old. And funny enough, as advanced as the graphics were for that game, CG cutscenes still made their appearance throughout the gameplay. And what was really irritating for me is that the cutscenes in the game were the parts that I really wish were playable. I really admire any kind of game that uses the actual in-game graphics engine to power the entire game. The Uncharted and Metal Gear Solid franchise has always relied on their in-game graphics engine to power both the gameplay and the cutscenes. It makes a seamless transition throughout the game and makes the overall quality consistent. Knowing that it is possible, why isn't a huge company like Square Enix leading the way in this? But by far, the biggest no-no in the game trailer gone wrong category, the Boldfaced Liar. I'm pretty sure you all remember this one. There was a beautiful trailer a couple of years ago where it started off with a young girl lying dead on a lawn. It then cuts to the same little girl, alive and well, running for her life down a darkened hallway. Suddenly, the deceased girl starts flying up as if time were reversing. And yet another cutaway shows the little girl being chased by what looks like zombies. Now, as these two focal points come to their epicenter, we find out that this little girl was seconds away from being rescued by a man and a woman. Moments before that, she was bitten by a zombie, which led to her ultimate demise. An agonizing beat later, we realize that the little girl was actually the daughter of the man and woman who were trying to rescue her. This was the trailer for Deep Silver's highly anticipated zombie game, Dead Island. This trailer went viral and made everyone believe that this was going to be a game that would tap into the emotional core and the drama that could be had during a zombie apocalypse. And then it released. And not a shred of what that game trailer promised, aside from zombies, was found in the final product. Thankfully, the following year, the Walking Dead game came out and totally made up for it. So there you have 3 examples of video games and their trailers that I feel mislead their consumers into buying products that are not on par with what was promised. Now, I know that gamers like you and I are a little more informed than the general public, and if we're interested in a game, we will do as much research on it as possible right up until the last second before release date. And I believe it's mostly because of incidents like this, or games like Duke Nukem Forever, or Resident Evil 6, or Aliens Colonial Marines. We've all been burned in the past, and we only have so many dollars to spend on games every month. But for the occasional gamer that just goes by the media that's offered to them, they end up with a crap game that might put them off from purchasing another game in the future. That becomes a big deal. If you go see a movie and it turns out to be a piece of crap, you're only out $10 to $16. But if you buy a crappy video game, you're out $40 to $60. One bad video game is enough to make you reconsider your hobby of choice. So now I'm turning it to you. Have you ever been burned by the game trailers and ended up with a turd of a game? Do you guys feel that this is something that needs to be addressed by the game industry? And would making game trailers that properly represent the game that they are making, would that potentially make video game developers step up their game a little bit and bring the standard of our video games to a whole new level? These are the thoughts that I have in my head when I'm actually supposed to be doing real work. So that's it for me on this episode of Deep Seeded Geek. I'm sorry it was a little more negative than I'm usually doing, but I felt it was something that needed to be addressed. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you dig it, hit the like button below to let me know this is the kind of content you want to see. Feel free to share it with your friends and family. I'm at 92 subscribers right now, almost at the great big 100 mark. And as a reminder, I have something big planned when I hit 100 subscribers, so stay tuned for that. Share this on Facebook with your friends or family. Make this a favorite if you want to hang on to this video. And of course, hit the subscribe button right up there. I release new videos every Monday and Wednesday, and I will see you next time on Deep Seeded Geek. Take care. So those are 3 examples of what I feel are game trailers and products that completely mislead their consumers into buying a product that is not on par with what was almost had it.